and keep your wits about you. No, she's not holding my hand.
It's just a cultural
It's just a cultural thing. Realistic expectations. We want to talk a little bit about that, or lack of it, yeah. So we want to talk a little bit about that, guys, because look, this is the rest of your life. Yes, it's fun to fantasize and to picture yourself with just anybody on the website, and that's great, and maybe that can happen. But you also want to be realistic, and you want to understand what it is you really want for the rest of your life, because hopefully marriage will be for the rest of your life. Yeah, guys, we've been doing this for 30 years now, right? And there's a reason why you guys are interested in this, right? There's a reason why you're going over, and that's wonderful. I think one of the main reasons is that this just gives you more opportunity than what you would have in your hometown, in your home city, or here even in the U.S. It just gives you so much more opportunity and so much more assistance to try and meet that right woman, right? And maybe because you realize that there might be a really good fit with the culture where she is and the culture where you are, right? Because she's having problems too, trying to meet that right guy, and you're having issues here, trying to meet the right woman for the things that you want. And so you decide, okay, I'm going to try something like this and go over. But guys, here's a few tips to try to stay realistic. And tell me if I'm off base too much. Tip number one, until you meet the woman, right? Until you actually meet her, you really don't have, quote unquote, real relationship. Okay, you might have kind of a virtual relationship. You might have something like that. But are you engaged before you meet her? No, you're not. You should not really be purchasing an engagement ring and doing those kind of things until you actually meet. You know, when guys call me up now and they say, John, I'm so happy I'm engaged, my first question to them now is, have you met her yet? Because if they tell me no...
That sounds like a logical question and you should not be asking.
You shouldn't have to ask that. And they used to not ask that until more and more guys are saying that without first meeting. You just don't know what's really going on until the two of you are alone talking. And I don't care if she speaks your language or doesn't speak your language. Use Google Translate, do something. You can use an interpreter at first, but you need to be alone at some point. And you need to be able to talk and really see what's going on with that body language. And keep your wits about you, right? Do not ignore red flags. Do not make excuses for things like, well, no, she's not holding my hand.
It's just a cultural difference.
It's just a cultural thing. A woman not to hold a guy's hand.
Well, look, on the first date, I mean, there could be moments when she is uncomfortable, so on the first date, okay.
First date, okay, I'll give you that.
But if it's a second, third date, and there is no physical touch so she doesn't want to hold your hand just like this when you walk down the street, you probably should start being concerned a bit.
Yeah. You know, and I know guys that will just continue to pound their head against the wall and continue to blame it on every other external factor they can think of other than the fact that she's just not that into you. Okay? Okay, I need to move on. And you know what? To his credit, he did. He did. And he moved on. And he got engaged to someone. He got married. He's still married, right? But he understood that this was not for him. This was not going to work. And instead of going into deep depression and hiding in his room for the whole tour and all that, he just moved on. Sometimes you have to just move on. And it's hard because we don't want to. We want to make that work because in our mind, we spent all this time, maybe you wrote a bunch of letters, maybe you did all this, and you built this up in your mind so much to where you want it to work. And damn it, you're going to make it work. You ever see someone trying to get that square peg into that round hole, and they just keep pounding and pounding and pounding. But no matter how hard you pound, it won't go. And you can try and try and try. It's just not going to happen. If you have to try that hard at a relationship, is that a good relationship? I mean, will that probably
And imagine
work?
it's only the beginning, when everything's supposed to go nice and smooth. So what's going to happen later when they try to live together and...
Right. You know, of course there might be some minor ups and downs when you first meet, right? Of course there might be some misunderstandings. There might be some stuff. Okay, that's fine. But, you know, if it's constantly, I talk about this all the time, if it's constantly you, the man, giving, and getting really nothing back from her, and you have to keep doing that just to stay afloat, like you're treading water, that's no fun. Who wants to be in a relationship like that? I want to be in a relationship where I'm giving and I'm getting, and I'm giving and I'm getting. Because guess what? That is a normal, organic, happy, healthy relationship, right? So guys, again, we go back to correspondence and letters and things like that. You know, yeah, you can play with that all day long. You can write, and if you're going to do it, you should do it with a plan, and you should do it with the plan to go meet as soon as possible. But if you get, you know, to the point where you're just writing, and you're building this idea of what she is, well, your mind's an amazing thing, and it can build the perfect woman. Trust me, she's just perfect in your mind, right? And letters help. But then when you go over and meet her, you know, she's not going to be like that, right? She's going to have her own thoughts and her own things. And yeah, she may be close, and you may have some advantage because you've written to each other and you know enough about each other maybe to move forward quicker if the chemistry is there. But that's a big if, because you don't know if that chemistry, that all-important chemistry, is going to be there or not. You'll never know it through letters. You won't even know it really through a video call, although I highly recommend a video call because I think it speaks volumes much more than letters do, and you get a better idea of the personality and everything, and a little bit of the chemistry. But you still won't know that chemistry until you go over and you meet. And I get it, going over is a little bit of a commitment on your part, right? I mean, you have to be able to do it. But if you're really going to be realistic about this, and you really want to be one of those guys over there that are trying and putting themselves out there, then you need to do it. You just need to bite the bullet and say, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to see. And you know, guess what? When you get over there, you may find that that woman that you thought was way up here and is perfect isn't. And she isn't all what you thought she was. But because you are going with us, especially if you go on a group tour, but if you would go individually, we can, while you're there, introduce you to other women. Women that maybe you never even knew existed, but because now that we get to know you a little bit, and we have wonderful matchmakers, they can say, hey, guess what? That didn't work so good, but how about this woman? Or how about that woman? That might work better for you. And all too often, we find men that will end up marrying the woman that was never on their radar screen, never on a list, never wrote to, but when they went over, it just turned out that, yeah, just bumping into each other, there was chemistry. And then it just moved forward organically. And that's the way it really happens with a lot of our guys. You've seen it, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, when you look, browse the website and you look through profiles and you start to create this perfect woman in your head, okay, I want her to be blonde, I want her to be that tall, you know. But in reality, you know, you might end up marrying a completely different person just because there's a chemistry connection and everything else is right.
So, guys, try to focus. Look, I know many of you like introduction letters, right? We changed some things to introduction letters lately, and we got all this feedback. Oh, go back to the way it was. Really liked it. Okay, fine. But introduction letters, as it says clearly on the site, are sent by matchmakers trying to help the women. That's what makes our site different than a lot of other sites out there, that we're really pushing and helping the women. So just because you get introduction letters does not mean the woman wants to have your child tomorrow, right? It's just a possible indication of interest, right? And then if you respond to it, then they'll contact the woman and all that. That's how it works. Read the site. It's right there in your inbox. You know, my suggestion to you is, if you really want to write, you know, don't rely so much on intro letters. You don't have to. You know, look at the women. Do your own search. Try to find the women that you think you would be most interested in, right? And then, you know, if you want to write a little bit, write to them first. But again, do it with a plan. Do it with an idea of going over within a month or two instead of 4 or 5 years from now. Okay, there's no reason to write if you're going to wait that long to go over right now. There just isn't, unless you just want to write and that's all you want to do. Then okay, if that's all you want to do, then maybe. But if you want to actually have something that's real, right, reality, have a real marriage, that kind of thing, then you have to go make that happen. You have to go meet the women in person instead of just a virtual thing. That's so important, guys. So we have a great search engine on the site. You can search by all kinds of different parameters, and then you can decide, okay, these are the women that I feel might be good for me, and you send them an introduction letter. You just send them out the introduction letter first and see who responds, and then you go forward from there. There's nothing wrong with that, and a lot of guys actually do that, and it's good. So just keep that in mind too.
Also, it's important, again, keep realistic expectations when you write to women as far as the parameters of your future life partner that you select. It might impact your trip in so many ways.
Yeah. Age, those kind of things, all those, you know, you just, yeah, when you go over, you're going to have more options. But, you know, if you're 70 and you only want someone in their 20s, yeah, that's going to be tough, okay? It's going to be tough. Even if you're 60, you want someone in your 20s. 50, and you want someone in your 20s. They're not going to be easy, okay? So keep these things in mind. Everyone's different. I understand. I know that you're out there thinking, but John, I'm 70, but I look like I'm 30. Okay, I get it. I hear that a lot. But
I can't imagine how often do we hear this, guys.
But the fact is, you're still that age, and you have to factor that in to being realistic in what you're really looking for. Okay.
Plus, you have to live the lifestyle that, if you're gonna be dating 20 years old, well, you have to give her the certain lifestyle, and she probably would still want to go out parties. She still would want to go hang out with her friends. As long as you're willing to do all those things, that might be an option.
Searching for that one special woman to complete your life? Join men from all over the world as they take a trip and find their future brides. Check out our website at
mediandating.com.